Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Parveen Ali and I work at Health Sciences School at the University of Sheffield, and today I'm going to talk to you about the difference between primary, secondary and tertiary sources of research evidence. So what is research evidence? Research evidence is the information that you collect from available research and to understand the phenomena of interest that you wanted to explore, or to get more knowledge around the topic that is of interest to you. Often students find it very hard to distinguish between primary, secondary and tertiary sources of research evidence. So let's explore this aspect today. So primary sources. Primary sources of evidence include studies which have been conducted firsthand, and the data is collected from individuals by the researchers themselves, and these studies are written by the researchers themselves. So these studies, primary sources, provide direct and first-hand evidence, as I've just said to you, about an event, object, person or work of art. So anything which someone has described it as they have experienced it or they have explored it. It includes historical and legal documents, eyewitness accounts, results of experiments, statistical data, pieces of creative writing, audio and video recordings, speeches, the art and art objects, interviews, surveys, fieldwork, internet communications via email, blog, listservs, and news group. These are all examples of primary sources. It is also an example of empirical studies where the research, as I said earlier on, and is conducted by the researcher or the author, and the results of the empirical studies are presented. You will find those results typically in scholarly articles and papers delivered at conferences and in the journals that you are going to explore, depending on what field you are in. Then you have got secondary sources. What do we mean by secondary sources? Well, secondary sources is anything, as the name suggests, it describes, discuss, interprets, comment upon, or analyze, or evaluate, or summarize, or something. All of these different aspects about primary sources. So you have not actually collected raw data, you have not actually collected new information, but you have looked at the different primary sources of information, and you have tried to describe, discuss, analyze, and interpret those sources to come up with the conclusions that you have. The examples could be articles in newspaper or popular magazines, book, movie reviews, or articles found in scholarly journals which discuss or evaluate someone else's original articles. So literature reviews, systematic reviews, meta-synthesis, meta-analysis, all are in examples of secondary sources. Then you may also look at tertiary sources. So what are these? These are sources which contain information which has been compiled from primary as well as secondary sources. And the example could include chronologies, dictionaries, encyclopedias, directories, guidebooks, indexes, abstracts, manuals, and textbooks. All these three sources of information are important in their own right, and it is really important for people using these sources, and especially students studying at undergraduate, master's or PhD level, to distinguish between all these sources so that they could clearly identify what sort of sources they are using in the work which they are accomplishing for their assignment or for other purposes. So again, let's try, and I think primary and secondary sources are major distinctions. So I've tried to kind of compare both of that information. So primary research means the first-hand information is collected, as I've said earlier, with secondary research where the information is gathered by somebody else, by other primary researchers, and the reviewer has tried to analyze all that information and present new insight into it. Primary research is based on raw data, and secondary research is based on the data collected earlier on, but it's analyzed and interpret information which was already available. Primary research is carried on by or conducted by researchers themselves, and secondary research is by reviewers who themselves have not collected the raw data, but have looked at the data available from others and compiled it together. In primary research, the data collection is primary method, so they go and collect it. Whereas secondary research, they use already available information about primary research and come up with the information or the results for the secondary research. Cost of primary research could be very high. Cost of secondary research could be lower as compared to primary research, but then this in itself could be quite high as well. Time it takes to conduct primary research could be very, very long, whereas time it takes to conduct analysis could be less compared to the time taken for primary research. So that's the distinction between primary as well as secondary research, and I hope you found this information useful. Thank you for watching. Do subscribe to the channel and do share this video to others who may find it useful. Thank you.